Hey, welcome back to Mary Wieden You. We were last on Friday, haha. And this morning on Tuesday, which seems like Monday, we have got Central District Commissioner Willie Simmons. He of the MDOT. That's his thing. He's Central Mississippi Commissioner. I can't talk this morning. Can you imagine that? Anyway, lots to talk about as we handle our byways and highways, and he'll be with us for one segment. If you'd like to comment or call him, we are at 888-808-8637. We can text at 601-879-4395. And you can watch us, supertalk.fm/Mary. And you can catch us on YouTube a little bit later on today. Lance will take out the commercials. They'll put in their own. But anyway, Lance will take them out of there. Lots to talk about. And then after the commissioner leaves, we got things to talk about like brown water. That's always a hot topic, honestly. Crazy. Brown water, yes. And but don't worry about it. It's not going to hurt you. And it's got manganese in it. Oh, that's something that we need. And Jimmy Kimmel, and then any other things that you like to talk about, you know, the Kirk stuff. Charlie Kirk weekend. Wow, that was something else. So anyway, let's talk about our roads and highways. First of all, you're all getting 3 cents more per gallon of gas. Has it started to show up yet in the books that you know of? And welcome, by the way.
Mary, let me thank you for having me. It's a joy seeing you again and coming back on your show.
It's been too long. I mean, I thought it was just like 3 or 4 years, but it's been a little longer.
Totally agree. Too long.
Yeah,
so
really.
let's not do that again.
No, absolutely. You'll be on the books for frequent visits. So is the 3 cents doing you any good yet?
Well, we're going to get a small amount of the money this year because you well know the 3 cents went in place July 1st of this year. And it's going to increase over the next 3 years to 9 cents. And at that time, we should get about $200 million a year.
Wow.
So it's recurring money, something that had not been done since 1987.
The AHEAD program.
The AHEAD program.
Yes.
So we want to thank the legislature, Governor Reed, Lieutenant Governor Holzman, as well as Speaker White, and all the legislators for their support in making that happen.
Were you in the legislature in 1987? 88?
No, I came in 1993.
Oh, okay.
Served 26 years, and so I missed the 1989, 87 program when they was putting it in place. Yeah. But they did a good job, except for they didn't give us any maintenance money to maintain what we was building. Oh,
well, you get about $80 million a year or so from the casino? No, from the lottery, don't you?
In 2018, 2018, when Governor Bryant called his special session, we passed the lottery bill, and I was the one who handled the bill on the floor. And as a result of passing that lottery bill, we decided, because we needed money for transportation, to put the first $80 million into transportation, and we capped it at that. I wish now that we had put more of the lottery money in it, just left it open, but we didn't do that, so that's an issue that we won't deal with. But the $80 million is good for us. Yeah. But we do need the legislature to come back and hopefully this coming session and remove the
cap,
what we call the sunset, the repealer, and make sure that we continue to get that $80 million.
Well, so your basic sources of income and everybody complains, oh, the highways. People need to understand there's a difference, by the way, between state roads, federal roads, and county roads, and then those forget the name of them, the oddball roads.
The municipals.
No, not municipals. There's another state aid roads. Yeah, yes. That's another thing altogether. But your predominant source of income would be gas tax, and now, of course, from the lottery, right? And
our primary income in the past has been the fuel tax.
Yep.
The 18 cents, and what citizens need to understand is that we don't get the full 18 cents. And it's not percentage. It's 18 cents per gallon. So regardless to how many, what the cost, the price of gas is, we only going to get the 18 cents. And that's antiquated. We will get the 3 cents, and then there's an index, 1% on top of that. So that's what's going to help us get to $200 million in the new legislation that was passed.
Well, how has everything been going this summer? I presume that what I want to do is kind of wrap up the summer projects around the central area. How are we doing? I was just hearing some discussion before we went on the air about the bridge over by the Big Black River on I-20. But how are we doing generally in terms of summer projects? What's left yet to be done? before the cold weather sets in.
We have a lot of work going on. We're doing well.
You see the orange barrels,
And with that, let me just say to the listeners, Brad White, our CEO, is doing a fantastic job. He lost his father over the weekend, so please keep he and his family in your prayers. But Brad is leading the 2,700 employees that we have, and we're doing a great job in taking care of many projects that we could not take care of in the past because we didn't have the money to do so. Now that we're getting more money, you see us working everywhere. And we want to encourage the citizens also to be patient with the progress that we are making and drive safely within our work zones to keep our employees and the contractors safe.
Boy, absolutely. I mean, that's a terrible thing that happens when people are such. It seems like they're getting more idiotic out on the roads than they ever used to be, and it's terrible when they go speeding through those areas and hurt people. It's uncalled for.
It is, but if we're going to do the highways, we gotta redirect the traffic, and that's going to cause you to have to slow down. And we want you to be patient with us as we go through that process. Now, here in the Jackson area, we've had a lot of work going on. Want to talk about Highway 80?
Yeah.
Because we closed Highway 80 for a while because two bridges we needed to do work on, and we have finished one of those bridges and now doing the second one, so traffic can begin to move through Highway 80. Also,
you were over by 20 or by 18. No, that's not right.
It's over about 2055.
Yeah, 2055, and a little bit east of there, maybe.
Yes.
Where you go to the I'm looking. What's the name of those places? The discount place. Anyway.
And when you're doing the old Rankin Road, so we had to do that one also.
Oh, you did.
While at the same time doing work on Interstate 55 going north over the Pearl River Bridge. And I'm pleased to say that we have completed part of that project, opened up the northbound lanes, and we still have work to do. As you well know, the fair is getting ready to come in a few weeks, and we are encouraging our staff and the contractors to work as fast as we possibly can so that we can open up the interchange. When you get ready to get on Interstate 55 going south off of Pearl Street, and hopefully we'll be able to do that before the fair starts, which would help the traffic flow coming into the fair. So with 80 and West Rankin, Old Rankin Road, and 55.
Old Brandon, you mean Old Brandon Road? Or
Old Brandon Road.
Old Brandon Road, yeah.
It's Old Brandon Road. It's going to make easy travel going to the fair. So we're working very hard to try to make that happen.
As long as nobody destroys the old foys on the Old Brandon Road. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
That's our favorite place. Yeah, we've had some good pictures of that.
Great favorite place. That's my favorite place on Old Brandon Road because that way you can get on to Casey's Lane. There was another great road, but now it's all blocked off and kind of looks kind of nice in terms of things being blocked off. The dead buses and all those old houses are gone, but it gets you over to Flowwood Drive. Anyway. The new Flowwood Drive. But, so, yeah, you got to have traffic. You got to have it moving good for the fair. Just absolutely. But
we know that we're going to have a lot of traffic going on, so we are working, again, day and night.
What you didn't lose to rain, you probably lost to heat. I would imagine that, it's pretty hard on your employees to be outside working in clothing they have to put on and working in the heat and everything. That's not easy.
And that's one of the things that we do appreciate about our employees. This year we've had a lot of heat. In years past, we've had a lot of inclement weather, tornadoes, hurricane coming through the state. And our workers, even during COVID, have been out working and making sure that we do what we need to do to keep our highways safe and passable.
Absolutely.
So, once again, thanks to our employees for what they do.
Absolutely. By the way, there was a big problem for some years along I-55 in Jackson with people stealing copper wiring from lights. Has that ever been solved? I mean, are all the lights where they need to be and safe so that thieves can't climb up there and grab copper? I mean, that's
Two of my greatest calls come from darkness as a result of people stealing copper and other things going on with our lighting system, as well as the garbage trash pickup, especially here in the Jackson area. Mm-hmm. I'm pleased to say that we gave a contract a little over $2 million about a year ago to put lights between the stack and Highway 18 on Interstate 20. Mm-hmm. That project is almost completed, and that's going to help us tremendously with that. We also been doing a study with Garvey Engineering Firm, and they are looking at what we can do better to keep individuals from stealing the copper,
really?
But having the lights that's going to work. And that project is being looked at on Interstate 20, 220, and 55. So our entire interstate system is being looked at in that study. And hopefully sometime this year we will come with a plan that we're going to put in place to restore those lights. And part of it probably will be more voltage, but we will have signs up to let folks know that you run the risk of being electrocuted if you mishandle these particular lights.
Well, that's good.
So those are the kind of things we're looking at.
Well, this sounds so kind of silly, but, you can put things up, baffles, because you call them, to keep squirrels out of your bird feeders. It seems like there ought to be something similar to keep humans off of your lights. There's got to be something that can go up there besides a sign that threatens you with electrocution, which is a good thing. But, there must be something that can go up there to prevent, honestly, don't people have anything better to do? Apparently not. That just kills me.
That's why we're doing the study.
Yeah, well.
To give us some ideas on what we can do that will prevent the theft, but also make sure that our systems is lighted well and safe. So
do you use or depend a lot, I guess, on the police departments along the way, whether it's, state or cities, municipals, to monitor this kind of stuff?
We do.
Yeah.
We rely on our law enforcement person. But I think what we may have had happening is individuals may have been dressing like they was workers, so they don't get noticed as much, and they are hooking to the pole and the copper and snatching it out with a winch, something.
This must happen in other states. Everybody must have something to do with that kind of stuff.
And once again, we're doing the study so we can come back. Yeah. Now, let me just say also to you that over in Rankin County, the West Rankin Parkway, Highway 477, that project has been taken over by the Department of Transportation, and it's a major connector between Pearl and Flowood. Utah Construction Company has that project. It's about a $60 million project, and we are ahead of schedule by almost a year. We will actually be opening that highway up sometime between now and Thanksgiving so that the individual will be able to ride it. So, citizens in Rankin County, thank you for your patience.
And you're referring to the one.
We're going to have that connector open for you, and you'll be able to ride on it by Thanksgiving.
That's Flowood Drive over to Pearl, correctly? That cut through? Is that what that?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's going to be super.
Well, that'll be good.
Man.
But what's really nice? I like East Metro, the East Metro Parkway. You can go from the North Shore. You can go down past Bob Boyd. With Bob Boyd Honda without. You have to stop with some lights, but you don't have to make any turns or anything like that. That's a straight shoot. That's a nice shot, and that brings you out at by the old Rankin County Hospital. Highway 18 is what it comes out to. So west is going to come out. I wonder how many miles west that is from East Metro. I don't know.
Well, talking about Rankin County, Highway 18, we're working on it. We completed a bridge. I believe it was on 43, so it's open and the traffic is moving. Also, over by the airport,
the 43 is the one at the reservoir.
The roundabout.
Oh.
And that's going to be good access and flow of traffic at the airport. So Rankin County, also on 25, we're working, a lot of work going on. Same way in Madison County. When you look at Interstate 55 and I-51, the Renaissance, the Gluckstadt, all of those projects are moving. And we should be having a ribbon cutting ceremony for that project within the next 30 days. So we're very pleased with, again, the work that we've been able to do here in the Jackson metro area, completing those bridges. And we do have another project on Highway 51 up in Madison County where we're going to have to replace 4 bridges.
My goodness, where?
One we had to close down that we are working on now because we posted it and we was having 18-wheelers to continue to drive it. So we didn't want to run the risk of having a collapsed bridge. So we just closed the highway and working on that segment of the highway.
Where is that near? What's that near?
It's up around Canton.
Oh, okay. Wow, I was going to. By the way, speaking of 18-wheelers, what is the deal with 18-wheelers wrecking all the time? We constantly have, and I remember this from doing the helicopter traffic. There's 18-wheelers rolling over, and they constantly rolling over. What is their problem? I mean, that's a little crazy and scary. And also, you have a lot of people who don't speak any English driving 18-wheelers, which probably makes it worse. I don't know if anybody's done a study on that, but does happen.
We do have a CDL school that we train drivers, but I can't answer that question.
But
I don't know what's the problem with the drivers.
Well, you know what was it? When we talk about these things, it's one thing, but what was very advantageous for me and for the viewers too is when we did helicopter traffic. For instance, the flyover of Airport Road and Old Brandon Road used to be just an intersection. I can't remember if it was a stop sign or whatever out by the airport, but then now there's the flyover that you go. And I watched that being built. It was a flat road, and then it was being built up on the sides. It was like a little canyon was being built right there on Old Brandon Road. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. People in Rankin County will know, but it's a little so that they could support the bridge that would fly over there. You didn't have to stop or anything there at Old Brandon Road. It was a nice thing. It was easy to watch. It was nice to watch these things as they were ongoing. Like
I need to get out and take a look at that. I'm not familiar with what you're speaking of now.
Well, if you get on Airport Road, and if you're on Airport Road and you want to go down to wherever Brandon, you used to have to stop at Old Brandon Road, but now it's a flyover. So you just fly over. And then it comes down. Yeah. I watched that being built, and it was really great because then you could see how it works. And you could see
that was part of the new construction under Commissioner Hall when he was here.
Yeah, yes, it was a neat thing to watch.
That helped the traffic flow.
Oh yeah,
getting into Brandon Airport as well as going downtown Pearl.
Absolutely,
and getting back over to the interstate system. Yes.
So where are the new roundabouts going to be again? Out by the airport?
It's a roundabout there now going into the airport. And we are replacing it to kind of upscale it, upgrade it. It was one of the worst ones we had in the system, so we decided we needed to upgrade that, especially with the number of traffic, amount of traffic that we have going into the airport.
Well, Commissioner Willie Simmons, we got to roll because it's time for our break and it's time for you to get out because you got to go to a board meeting today. We know we can't have you longer than this. So.
Yes, but let me just say to you, throughout the district, we are doing a lot of projects. We just completed and did the ribbon cutting ceremony for Highway 82 up in Greenville.
Oh, wow.
A $216 million project. We have another project, Highway 19, that we are doing over in Neshoba County to complete the full lane of it. And the Interstate 20.
We got to go. He's going to shut us down. Thanks an awful lot for getting here, though. But come on back soon, okay?
Yes,
we'll talk some more. Appreciate it. All right, we'll be back. I was looking for pictures to illustrate the commissioner's appearances, but I kept finding accident pictures. But I found that the nice one that I put on my thing on X.
On the Instagram or X platform.
Well, it was the X platform. It's a good looking. It's an evening thing with lights and everything. It's really a lovely picture. All right, I know there are things to talk about besides what I'm going to talk about in a moment. But Jimmy Kimmel, we'll talk about that if we can get into it, and Charlie Kirk a little bit later on. But locally, a lot of people are talking about, you want to know what they're talking about? Brown water.
Ooh.
Brown water. It is not
talking
nice.
about a bouillabaisse or anything. This is supposed to be drinking water, right?
Yes, it is. And I have information on that, and I have information on, well, what one of the culprits is. Oh, that'll shock you. Okay, so here's the story. Channel 12 had done this story. Complaints increasing across the city. In no particular places, I don't think, but maybe some of it is a lot in South Jackson, but it can be any place. So Jackson Water says that discoloration was caused by elevated levels of manganese, not magnesium, manganese, MANGANESE, which is a naturally occurring element in the Ross Barnett Reservoir. Well, yeah, blame it on the res, but you'll find out in a minute here. During periods of extreme heat, officials say that manganese can leach into the system event after a treatment, which has resulted in brown water in some neighborhoods. They don't say which ones. Although it is brown, it is a naturally occurring thing, and we are treating for it to make sure that you don't experience the aesthetic displeasure of seeing brown water. This is the terminology from Jackson Water, so that you don't experience that aesthetic displeasure of seeing brown water. But also, it is safe. The EPA has guidelines around it, and as of now, we are meeting all state and federal regulations when it comes to water quality, says Aisha Carson, lead communications officer for Jackson Water. Residents have voiced frustration over long waits when they try to report their issues. Jackson Water says the call center has been busier than ever with the increase, but urging you to keep calling back or check their websites for updates. She says crews are working to clear the system and restore water clarity. Then Channel 12 says, oh, no, they say, our teams across the city, they're flushing hydrants, working overtime at the treatment facility to make sure that people are not experiencing that, but they might be. So if they are, call the center. That helps us to know exactly what neighborhoods are experiencing in the city. Okay, that's that. Now, manganese. It's like, well, gee, what is that?
Not good.
Well, if you look up, and I've got it here right here for you.
Not in quantities, yeah. You don't
Well, yeah. Manganese.
Making your water brown is probably a good bit in there.
Well, here's the definition of it. I found this one on Google. Manganese is a hard, brittle, silvery metal represented by the symbol Mn on the periodic table, and is an essential mineral for human health and various industrial uses, including steel production, battery manufacturing, and glass making.
It sounds like it'd be real good for you.
Yeah, really nice. If you get sick to your stomach, well, don't throw up your glass making stuff. In the body, it's crucial for bone formation, metabolism, and wound healing by activating enzymes and acting as an antioxidant. Most human exposure to manganese comes from food. That's comforting. And it can come through drinking water, which can also be a source, and but here's the elevated levels can cause neurological damage. And then under human health, it says, subtopic, essential nutrient. The body needs manganese for vital functions, including building bones, forming connective tissues, metabolizing carbohydrates and proteins, and healing wounds. For enzyme activation, another subtitle. Manganese is a cofactor for enzymes, including manganese superoxide dismutase. If I'm saying that right. Dismutase, dismutase, which helps protect cells from damage by getting rid of free radicals. Well, good. And then finally, sources. Dietary sources include nuts, whole grains, beans, leafy vegetable greens, and teas. And it doesn't say this, but the Barnett Reservoir. Do that. But in terms of toxicity, while essential in small amounts, excessive exposure to manganese can lead to neurological brain and reproductive damage. And then under drinking water, high concentrations of manganese in drinking water can increase overall dietary intake, making water a potential health concern. Where it's found is the Earth's crust. Manganese is one of the most abundant elements in the Earth's crust, and it's found in various minerals, often in combination with iron. And it is essentially naturally present in soil, air, and water. So you can get all that manganese. That's not magnesium, manganese. So you're having all that stuff. I mean, so folks, if I were you, if I saw brown water, I think I'd go for bottled water. And you know, the other day when we had remember when Councilman Stokes was here, was it last week? He talked about brown water, and I was thinking he was talking about in the past. I didn't realize he's talking about now. Yeah. Now.
He's so well informed. You know,
yeah, he knows.
His ear is on the track.
It is.
Always.
Absolutely.
And you do a great job of asking the questions because, he's a smart guy. If you don't ask it, he's not going to volunteer.
Well, necessarily.
You do a wonderful job interviewing, and I was very informed by his interview and with Willie Simmons, too. So much information to share. Everywhere I go, they're working, so you see it.
Interesting. We was talking about, that the gas tax will increase to a certain amount. And so, and I never did get around to the question of how he's going to come back, though. He won't be a stranger. I can't believe it's been years since I'd interview him. Anyway, he won't be a stranger. But I'm wondering about the effect of, since electric vehicles are not a mandate anymore, I think, I remember he or somebody saying that the state is not going to get into the business of building charging stations. But I think they have built some, haven't they?
I think did the state build gas stations?
No, but I think they built some.
I know, but my point is, why does that industry?
I know. Why does that get
a mandate and then get subsidy when I understand that generally capitalism works when you sell a product that and you price it in a way where you make money at it without the government.
Yeah, well,
so
if it's the government
again,
mandate,
I'm not for the government putting in anything if it's not going to make money for the business that is operating.
Yeah,
I do not. So I don't. I'm glad we're not investing in charging stations. If that's what gas stations will have to one day go, hey, we can make some money on this when we sell, our little things in here. We can also put another bay out here and put a couple charging things up so people can sit here for 45 minutes or whatever it may be.
Yeah, let's have lunch and dinner while we charge our cars.
So, I'm 100% with the do not do it here because If you can't make money at it in the private sector, it does not require my money or yours to make it work.
Well, thank God we don't have to worry about that.
Oh, did you see? I wanted to mention to you something funny. As Trump and Melania were making it to the United Nations this morning,
I didn't see that.
he and his wife, the First Lady, they got on the escalator to go up to the big facility room, the gallery room where everybody is, and halfway up it, the escalator just stops and breaks. And thank goodness he and Melania, are pretty fit. And he says that, when he starts speaking, but it stops. So they have to, get up and walk it up. Oh. And so then he gets to the stage and the podium, and the teleprompter doesn't work.
Well,
and so
imagine that.
As he gets
For
going,
those of us who've ever worked in TV, imagine that. But anyway,
So as he gets going, as his speech, he said, "Hey, I've put 7 wars down and all this, and not one person from the United Nations ever contacted me. The only thing I've ever gotten from you guys is a broken escalator and a broken teleprompter. So, guys, if y'all haven't seen that yet this morning, it's fresh
because he's live now. He's there. He's obviously on prompter now.
That's how he started the whole thing. Was basically burning them down right out of the gate as he's focusing on globalism and some of these issues.
Not a big UN fan.
But it was very funny how he came out of the gate. It's like a wrestler coming off the top rope is the first move. He was like, all right, here we go. It's going to be lit today.
Where were they? Let's see, the other day, who was walking next? Oh, when they were in England. That's it, when they were in England. Oh, I will say that's the only time I've ever seen Melania wear something that I didn't think looked good on her. And it was a yellow dress. A yellow dress that had a purple waist. And it made her look fat. It just, because I think she's pretty lean, but she looked kind of chunky. And especially walking next to Princess, she's a princess still, Catherine, who's just so eloquently beautiful. And she's like the size of a pipe. She's so little. But anyway, this is the time. And then I saw, of course, the president at Charlie Kirk. Did you see any of that on Sunday? What an amazing. I watched a couple hours and I went to the dog park and then I came back.
I've had a hard time with it all. Honestly, watching as much as I did as it happened and unfolded, and the graphic nature of the videos. I'm sure it's a lot like people that were so close to the Kennedy assassination that saw it firsthand. I'm sure, and for me, it's been hard to get that image out of my mind, and so I didn't really go into watching everything, as it happened. I tried to use some of the clips and things to get my information because to me, it's still a very emotional and deep, I am a Christian, but I'm not as good a Christian as the turn the other cheek and, forgive and forget and all that. This was a murder. It was an assassination and it was filmed. And to me, it's gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching. And so to see so many people come out in support of Charlie Kirk and the message of nonviolence, which I think everyone was pretty much saying the same thing, and to honor his legacy. And I just hope that we continue that, because the people at the top seem to have the right mindset, and that is, there's a terrible tragedy, but we cannot incite violence because of this.
Right, and they didn't. And I think people should see people should see that video, because that is evil. That is how evil works. And what happened to him was, I saw the video. It's like every drop of blood off his body went out. How can he have any more blood in his body? And the evil did that. As far as forgiving, our church, and she's Catholic, I don't know about the other denominations, but we must forgive. And besides, it's not up to us to make these decisions. It's up to God the Father to make these decisions. So, about what happens to that person, because they can burn in hell if you believe in all these things. And most of us, a lot of us do. A lot of people. I don't know how generally Christian, but
I'm having a little hard time though getting over how graphic, and then in reverse, knowing that we've had 2 lawmakers in Minnesota killed. You had 2 attempts on Trump's life. Kavanaugh. I'm seeing something here that is extremely disturbing nationwide, and so to look at this, I'm worried about the future of our country.
Oh, yeah.
Especially as you seem to see a ratcheting up of this week of the left and the attack on the name calling, the Nazism, the dictators, all of that. I guess it was hard for me to get in the right frame of mind to
I won't
sit
watch
there
it
through all
anymore. I'm not
that.
gonna listen.
Well,
Well,
no, for the Charlie Kirk thing, because I'm mad. I'm still upset. I'm tired of being called a racist.
Oh, I know
I'm tired
that.
of being called a Nazi. I'm tired of it.
But the thing on Sunday, it was all good stuff.
But it was. That's right.
Yeah, that was all good stuff.
I'm
And I got
still
home.
feeling a little bit of, I guess, internal rage. I wouldn't do anything to hurt anybody, but to me, it's hard to flush it so quickly. But that helped. Watching some of that very much was therapeutic
to
for
be
me.
a woman who became a widow and to see her, what she's doing, and she had no preparation. Oh, generally, they had the threats. But generally, I knew in my heart that I was going to be faced with it, and I had time to think about it, I guess, but I still have, it's still hard to be a widow. And here she is, right there, a couple days after it happened, that beautiful speech she gave. And then Sunday, me too. What a woman. She's unbelievable, and I hope she will stay that way. And I hope she can inspire everybody to just not only stay where you are with the program, which I don't know much about, but stay with it and make it grow. I hope she's right with that. It's going to grow bigger than ever. I really hope that. But to be able to do what she did she's in shock, of course, but still, she did that. She pulled herself together to give two beautiful speeches, and all hats off to her. We got to take a break here. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. By the way, President Trump is addressing the UN General Assembly with the teleprompter working. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Waylon? Yeah, there was a movie on not so long ago. It was Waylon Willie and the other one. Chris Christopherson, yes, and Willie's the lone survivor of all that. But I don't really know much about Waylon, but of course Christopherson, yes. So anyway, now people have been yammering about Jimmy Kimmel. Do you ever watch Jimmy Kimmel? No.
Oh, I do to get the other side. I try to be fair in my research.
Is he on at 10:30? I don't even have any idea.
I'm not sure. I'd try to catch him, or I'd catch something where I'd get a clip or two if it was, seemingly something that the world out there says was inflammatory. I generally try to listen. I do the same with all my research. I try to get the left and the right.
I do too, but those guys. But the as far as the late nights are concerned, the best of the late nighters I thought was David Letterman in the days when he did the top 10 lists.
Top 10s were
I have a couple of books. I don't know where they are, but there were some paperback books with those top 10, and that was really great stuff. And then he went off the rails, and now he looks like he's just terrible, crabby old so and so.
I was a big Johnny Carson fan because
he was.
I think his politics
he was
stayed
the
out of it.
He did.
He was great with an interview. And one thing that I've noticed over the years is you always get on late night talk shows, comedic shows now, you're only getting a infomercial for whoever the guest is. It's whatever movie or book or whatever cause they're promoting.
President too.
But you go back to Johnny, nobody was promoting a book or a new movie or it was generally an interview.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun. So I think that's one place that I just don't like the format of the Kimmels and the Colberts and all that is that Seth Meyers, it's always an infomercial. And then the moment where they get a chance to be political, they do.
They get angry. It's just anger.
They're selling something or angry.
Yeah. Anger?
And I just don't get that.
Well, so most of the stations, by the way, Nexstar is, Channel 12 is owned by Nexstar, but Channel 12 is a CBS affiliate, so they're not affected by this. But the Nexstar stations are all going to start carrying, not all, Nexstars will, and other stations will be carrying Kimmel starting tonight because he worked out a deal supposedly, right? Like, give me my money. I need my money and stuff like that.
200,000 people that watch his show, y'all enjoy it.
Yeah, really. And so, but I was wondering about Sinclair. So I did a search for my question on Google is Sinclair, which owns a bunch of radio TV stations, I don't know how many, is Sinclair still boycotting Kimmel? And the question came back, yes. Yeah. Sinclair is still preempting boycotting Jimmy Kimmel Live even after the show's return to the network, replacing it with news programming, Sinclair, on its ABC affiliate stations while negotiations with ABC are ongoing. So they're not giving up. Sinclair stated it will not air the show unless formal discussions with ABC are complete and it's confident that appropriate standards are upheld and according to a statement by the company. So Sinclair said, as far as controversial comments made by Kimmel, they say Sinclair stated it will not air the show again until a formal apology and a donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA were made by Kimmel. ABC's decision, so Sinclair's current position, okay. Sinclair's current position is still going to continue to replace Jimmy Kimmel with live news programming at their stations. Discussions are ongoing between the two to evaluate the show's potential to Sinclair affiliate stations. And there was one other comment about, I guess it was up there because this is a different version than I saw earlier today. But this having make a donation to the Kirk people, that's pretty amazing. So we'll see if that happens. And if it doesn't happen, then Sinclair is, well, what the heck? Years ago when NYPD Blue debuted. Now this goes back to the 80s when NYPD Blue started on ABC. It was 9 o'clock, it seems to me, and Channel 16 didn't carry it. Did you ever know that? Mm-hmm. Channel 16 did not carry it because they didn't feel it met the standards and whatever of central Mississippi, of their coverage area. So I had a little baby TV. It was a radio, AM, FM, and TV, little 5-inch screen, and so I could bring it out into my den, and it had an antenna on it, and I could get Channel 6 out of Greenville or Greenwood. One of those. Anyway, one of the green towns up there. So I could watch it that way because I liked it. But, I guess I could see what they meant, but it's up to us to decide what we're going to watch. And eventually, after a year or so of this, then they started carrying it. I mean, you have to because it's popular and it's okay. You have a choice with television anyway. You don't have to watch it. And if you don't like what you see, watch something else or just turn your TV off. I've always been annoyed about that.
The age-old model, though, you have to be appealing enough to have content that advertisers believe that people are going to want to tune in to watch that content, so they can embed those advertisements in the content and make money at this.
But on the the viewer end of things, if you don't like it, don't watch it. This whole thing about that always has bothered me. And I think the 7 words. The 7 words. Remember this? You know what I'm talking about? The 7 words, folks. The 7 words that what was his name? Comedian you can't say.
Oh, you can't say. Yeah,
you can't
George
say.
Carlin.
Yeah. What are those words, Mary? Well, I'm not going to say them.
Can't say them.
But they do say some of them. Some of the less offensive. Yeah. Lesser offensive. I mean, there's some really bad ones. I mean, the really egregious ones you can't say, even on cable. But you can't say that stuff. But those rules still apply, and so does you still cannot yell fire in a crowded theater. I mean, that's, if you want to call that censorship, fine, call it censorship. Then don't go to the theater if you don't want to worry about that stuff. But 7 words, yes. And I always kind of annoyed, some people get so upset about children's programming. Well, then don't let your child be in front of the TV. Don't use it as a babysitter if you don't like that. That's a real simple decision that you can make. Well, what are we going to do? Well, I don't know what you're going to do, but just don't put your kid in front of a TV and think it's going to be all wonderful, because it's not going to be. And cable, which is kind of going by the wayside in a lot of ways, they get away with a lot of stuff because you pay money to watch them. And so they'll get away with things. If you want to really be grossed out, and this is awful, you listen to some stuff on satellite radio. There's some stuff that you wouldn't get otherwise. For instance, I listen to a lot of hip hop music. Okay, well, if you hear the true version of some of that stuff, you hear it on your local FM station, but you don't hear the whole thing of it until you watch or you listen to something like Rock the Bells or what's this? Eminem's. What is Eminem's station? Eminem's channel on satellite.
I have no idea.
Oh, Shade 45. Shade 45. Yes, I know that. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his music.
Well, why not? What's wrong with him?
I just don't like. I don't like rap very much.
Oh, I do.
I like jazz. I like blues.
I do that too.
I like a lot of music styles, but rap is not
your
my
thing,
style.
huh?
No.
Well, but the words are much more than you get when you just listen to it on your regular FM station.
Oh, sure.
But if you want to listen to this, and sometimes it's like, oh, come on,
I greatly appreciate the artistry behind the lyrics and all, but I don't care for that style of music. Yeah,
I like the style.
Mine.
It has a.
Now EDM, I like it much better than rap. Because there's more complexity to me too, the music itself. But that's just me, and everyone has their opinions. But again, I just don't. There's a handful of artists probably from the '90s that I did grow up with, and even before that, the Beastie Boys, Run DMC, Tupac, and all that crew. I really enjoyed them. Coolio.
Yeah. Tupac Shaker, you talking about?
Well, I just like the quality of the music that they put out. But it's a very important and an extremely popular genre of music that you can't discount.
Everybody knows who Ice-T is if you watch Law and Order, SVU.
Like Ice-T back in the day. Yeah.
Well, if you watch it's the same guy. You should hear his unedited music is like, whoa, wasn't he a guy back in the day?
They were, yeah. I mean,
back in the day.
It was the place that you had an outlet for things that normally could not and would not be said. I think that was the first place you really started seeing that.
He was kind of the opposite of Vin Tutuola. Who is Vin Tutuola? That's his character on SVU.
Oh, okay.
Vin Tutuola.
I know him on that, but I've never really watched it.
There are some names that you just hang with him. Vin Tutuola.
I'm going to leave you.
That's one of them that, it's one of those things, though. If you take the time to learn it, then you get to use it. It's like my Chinese skaters, Zhui Zhen and Hangbo Zhao.
Right.
It's like, cool, I can speak Chinese. Zhui Zhen and Hangbo Zhao were probably the first modern day or ever. I think they were pair skaters. They were a pair back in the 90s, I guess, ice skaters, and they got onto the world stage and everything, and they were very good. But again, take the time to learn the names, get to use it. But anyhow, lest we digress.
Well, one thing I wanted to say is big news out about Tylenol over the last couple of days.
I know. It's like, check with your doctor.
Well, if you've watched the documentary, The Tylenol Murders, Tylenol had an extremely bad problem back in the 70s, 80s with cyanide poisoning. A lot of people died.
With Tylenol?
It took them, that's where all the protective caps and boxes, they had a triple layer that they brought in, which was the box and then a sealed cap and then the packing. Because they said, hey, it wasn't happening in our manufacturing facilities. But even then, it was odd. But now you fast forward to a potential, link between autism and Tylenol being used when you're birthing or you're carrying in a maternity. So it was just interesting news.
Well, you know what I wonder about? Okay, with this whole Tylenol thing, and the press is going around saying, "Don't take Tylenol, don't take Tylenol," and he was having a hard time saying acetaminophen. Mm-hmm. But I wonder what if it's the coating, on those pills? Because isn't Tylenol red?
Well, they had the red and white connector where they would have, but they've changed it a little over the years.
They may have, okay, well, something's going on because you can't, 1 in 12 are autistic. That's
high percentage.
That's a terrible percentage. So, but I wonder if, could it be something in there, though? That, they may have checked it out and all that kind of stuff, but maybe something's in there. Does that happen in pure acetaminophen? And by the way, this is our go away song, but the new song for the Toyota commercials, have you seen it? It sounds a bit like this. It's EDM, and I got to find out what it is. I got to research it one day and find out exactly who's doing that music. All right, everybody. We're going to talk about workforce development on Friday. This is a fun and fascinating interview. It's going to be because it's a thing. It's a true thing that you can learn, and so can your kids, as an alternative to some other things. Anyway, workforce development is on Friday, and we'll see you then.